Now in this video, some definitions and inequality for an integral. The continuation of Riemann integration. Definition is like this. We take this as definition. Meaning of integral a to b fx dx when b less than or equal to a. We have defined definite integral a to b fx dx in the interval a b, where a is less than or equal to b, or a is less than b. But now suppose b is less than or equal to a, then what happens here? Integral a to b fx dx is defined as, suppose b less than or equal to a, b less than a, then a to b fx dx is defined as minus b to a fx dx. This is the definition. Suppose b less than a to b fx dx is minus b to a fx dx. Now in further studies in inequalities and mean value theorems of this integral calculus, we use this as a main definition. Second is integral a to a fx dx is equal to 0. These are the two definitions. A to b fx dx is minus b to a fx dx. A to a fx dx is 0. Now see the theorem. This theorem gives inequality for integrals. Theorem states like this. What is the theorem? Suppose fx is bounded and integrable in AB. As usual, capital M and small m are the bounds. Capital M is upper bound, small m is the lower bound in AB. Then m into b minus a less than or equal to a to b fx dx less than or equal to capital M into b minus a when b greater than or equal to a. Suppose b is less than or equal to a, then this inequality reverses here. M into b minus a becomes greater than or equal to a to b fx dx greater than or equal to m into b minus a. How do you prove this? I explain how to prove this one. I think you remember this result. What is the result? Result is in the beginning of Riemann integration, even before defining what is Riemann integration, we have proved this one. M into b minus a less than or equal to small s less than or equal to capital S less than or equal to capital M into b minus a. Important result is this. This result we have proved in the beginning. Now, once again we prove this. Then, using fx is integrable, we prove first one, and second we prove using that definition a to b fx dx is minus b to a fx dx. First we prove this. How do you prove this? For that, what is given? Fx is integrable. See, the proof is like this. Fx is integrable. Now I am proving this one first. Suppose b is equal to a, then what happens? Let us take the case b is equal to a. If b is equal to a, the result is obvious. Take b is equal to a. What do you get? 0. On all the sides you will get 0. So result is trivial. Now we consider the case b greater than or equal to a. Equal to a, every side becomes 0, result is obvious. Suppose b greater than a, what is given? Fx is integrable in AB. It is given. Let d is equal to x0, x1, x2, etc., xr minus 1, xr, xn minus 1, xn. This is equal to b. B, any division of AB. Division of AB. And take capital MR and MR be the bounds of. Be the bounds means always the supremum, the infimum, the upper bound, the lower bound. Be the bounds of fx in R subinterval delta. What is this delta? Delta is equal to XR minus 1 XR R sub into 1. Then if capital M and small m are the bounds of fx in AB, understand, every concept is important. Say every this concept is important. MR are the bounds in some R subinterval for this particular subinterval, but capital M and small m are bounds of fx in entire interval A. Therefore m is less than or equal to small s, less than or equal to capital S, less than or equal to, or first I write m is less than or equal to mr, less than or equal to capital Mr, less than or equal to m. I think all of you followed this one. Why it is? Because the small m is the lower bound of fx in entire interval AB, but this mr is lower bound in R subinterval. So we have this result. Now what is given? B greater than A. Therefore B minus A is positive. If we multiply through it by B minus A, it doesn't change us. First we take m delta less than or equal to mr delta less than or equal to mr delta less than or equal to m delta. Now we take sigma m delta less than or equal to sigma mr delta sigma capital Mr delta sigma capital M delta multiplied by delta. Delta means actually the R subinterval as well as the length of the interval. Length of the interval also. Delta R also denotes length of the subinterval. Now M is constant. M into sigma delta. What is sigma delta? B minus A. Sigma delta means length of this complete subinterval. Delta is length of one subinterval, R subinterval. Sigma delta means it is length of the entire subinterval AB. So it is B minus A. Less than or equal to, what is this? Small s. You remember this? We begin with the Riemann integration began with the upper and lower sums. This is lower sum, and what is sigma capital Mr delta capital S less than or equal to m into again this B minus A. Now what is given? Fx is integrable. Therefore the lower and upper integrals are equal. How to define upper integral? Upper integral is infimum of this. What is the lower integral? It is the supremum of this. Upper integral is infimum of this. Lower integral is supremum of this. But they are equal. Infimum of this, supremum of this are equal. So we have m into B minus A less than or equal to A to B fx dx less than or equal to capital M into B minus A when B greater than A. Equal to A, it is obvious. So we have obtained first result. If B greater than A, M into B minus A less than or equal to A to B fx dx less than or equal to capital M into B minus A. First result. Now to prove second one, we use only the definition. What is second one? Let B less than A. B less than A, then A to B f of x dx is minus B to A fx dx, or B to A fx dx is minus A to B fx dx. This is the important result. What do you have to prove now? If B less than A, M into B minus A greater than or equal to A to B fx greater than or equal to capital M into B minus A. This we have to prove. For that, as proved earlier, as proved above, means here we prove that M into A minus B less than or equal to B to A fx dx less than or equal to capital M into A minus B. What is the reason? Because here A is greater than B. When A is greater than B, you have to replace, you have to interchange A and B. Follow this step. By interchanging A and B here, we get this step. Now, I multiply throughout by minus sign. Then what happens? Minus M into A minus B greater than or equal to minus B to A fx dx correct? Greater than or equal to minus M into A minus B. If we multiply by minus sign, inequality reverses. Inequality reverses. Now, next step I write minus M into A minus B greater than or equal to what is minus B to A fx dx? A to B plus A to B fx dx greater than or equal to minus M into A minus B. This is quite straightforward, this step. Follow this one. Here we have multiplied by minus sign, therefore inequality reverses. Next step we have used minus B to A is plus A to B. Now I write here M into B minus A greater than or equal to A to B fx dx greater than or equal to capital M into B minus A. Is it the required result? Yes, this is the required result. So, we have two important inequalities in A to B fx dx. Now, some 3 or more results depending on this theorem, we take that as corollary. So, we state, I explain the statement of this corollaries. First one is, suppose integral A to B fx dx exists. That means fx is bounded and integrable in A. Then there exists a number mu which lies between the bounds of fx. Which lies between bounds of fx. That is the meaning of this. Bounds of fx such that integral A to B fx dx is equal to mu into B minus A. It directly follows from that result. This result directly follows from the above theorem. What do you have proved in the above theorem? M into B minus A greater than or equal to A to B fx dx greater than or equal to M into B minus A when A is greater than B. If B greater than A, we have this. If B greater than A, we have this result. So, in either case, what is mu here? Mu lies between bounds of this M and M. For some, there exists some mu, so that equality holds. A to B fx dx becomes mu into B minus A. What is mu? Lies between bounds of fx. What is the second corollary? Second corollary is like this. If fx is bounded and integrable, in AB, then there exists C belongs to AB. means it lies between a and b or may be equal to a and b, such that integral a to b f of x dx is f of c into b minus c. F of c into b minus c. Here that mu is nothing but f of c here. What is mu? Lies between bounds of fx means it is some value of the function fx. What is that value? F of c. So this is also obvious. We take it as corollary. Now third corollary that requires proof. See, the third corollary is like this. If fx is bounded, next corollary is this: if fx is bounded and integrable in AB and k is a number such that for all x belongs to AB, mod fx is less than or equal to k, then mod of integral a to b fx dx is less than or equal to k into mod b minus a. We use such results in further theorems, mean value theorems. Therefore, the proofs of this are important. We may use this result in the proof of mean value theorem or some other results. How to prove this one? I explain in brief the proof of this, because you have the hard copy of that one. If you go through the proof, you will get that one. But I explain the proof of this so that you can easily understand. When you go through the notes, you can easily understand. How to prove this one? What is given here? See this. Mod fx is less than or equal to k means minus k less than or equal to fx less than or equal to k. This is first thing. Now, if a is equal to b, result is trivial, because here what is given? We have to prove that for a greater than b and a less than b. We have to prove that a is greater than or equal to b or a is less than or equal to b, both cases. If a is equal to b, common, a is equal to b, the result is obvious, means it is trivial. If a is equal to b, left hand side is 0, this is also 0. Suppose a is not equal to b, first we take this case, b is greater than or equal to a. And because of this, mod fx is less than or equal to k, we have minus k less than or equal to fx less than or equal to k. Now, since b is greater than a, we have, you have to use this result. Capital M and M be the bounds. Capital M and M be the bounds of fx in complete interval AB. Then these two are values of fx, but small m and m are, capital M are the lower bound, the upper bound. The meaning of this is m is less than or equal to minus k, less than or equal to fx, less than or equal to k, less than or equal to capital M. Ready? Is it right? We have this minus k less than or equal to fx less than or equal to k. But what is this m? This is the least upper bound. So, sorry, it should be least upper bound means it is least of all the upper bound. And what is this? This is the greatest of all the lower bounds. Therefore, m comes here. K, fx values lies between k and k. But what is m? It is the least of upper bound, so we get this then. It is for all x belongs to A. Belongs to A. Follow this step. Say first step is, since mod fx is less than or equal to k, directly we can write this. But m and m are, m is the upper bound. It is the least of all the upper bound, it is the greatest of all the lower bound. So we have this type. We now use b greater than a. minus k into b minus a less than or equal to small m into b minus a less than or equal to capital M into b minus a less than or equal to k into b minus a. Correct? K into b minus a. But see the previous theorem. These are the results derived from the main theorem. What is the theorem? Theorem is integral a to b fx dx is greater than or equal to m into b minus a, smaller than or equal to capital M into b minus a. So we have minus k into b minus a less than or equal to m into b minus a less than or equal to a to b fx dx less than or equal to capital M into b minus a less than or equal to k into b minus a. Because here we have used the theorem. We have used that theorem. Now using inequalities, what does this imply? Mod a to b f of x dx is less than or equal to k into b minus a. Because what is the absolute values? We have if minus a less than x less than a, we write mod x is less than a. Correct? This is the definition. Minus a less than x less than a, then mod x is less than a. Is it of this form? Minus k into b minus a less than or equal to a to b fx dx less than or equal to k into b minus a. So mod of this a to b fx dx is less than or equal to k into b minus a. This is the result. We may use this result in next theorems or while studying analysis. So we may use this one. Or sometimes the proof may be asked. Directly proof of this may be asked. Next is one more important result. Say I have written here. If fx is bounded and integrable in AB,